Hello, I am Michaela Kwanzaa and I am a junior at Riverbend High School. As part of the adjudication process for the VPA program, I will be creating two artworks. For the first of the two, I will be creating a drawing of my hand with the pose of my choice. For the second, I will be creating a small cube and making something. So let's get into it. So for the pose I am going to do for my hand drawing, I will be doing something simple like this. First, I will analyze the shapes that my hand is making, where certain places are bending at, and then I will begin sketching. Right now, my hand is at an angle, so it looks like it's slanted in a way, but it's all part of it. I have to looking at it from this perspective is what makes it interesting because it makes the hand look a little wonky, nice to draw. Right now, I am drawing basic shapes that my fingers are creating in my hand to get a good idea of where the knuckles are bending, where my fingers are placed, and all that. Trying to be cautious as possible when getting along those curves because some curves are very weird, but I can just focus and get. The thing I'm trying to avoid is erasing myself because it's just a rough draft of what I will actually be creating for the final. So these are not fine details. These are idea where things should go, how things should be. This is what a basic sketch of my hand for now would look like. You make some adjustments later, but this is the first step of the whole process. Right now, I'm also adding the sleeves so that the space doesn't have negative space in the background. For this next step, I will be doing what is called line art, which is basically going over the sketch. I choose to do it with this pen because it makes it stand out and tend to erase the sketch after everything is traced. With the pen, I tend to add more fine details like smaller wrinkles in my, for example, just so that the hand doesn't look so blank when it's time for me to be coloring. Or close enough. A lot of small details that I can also add after I color with details with the pen. Not the tracing might not be perfect, but it's giving me more clear image of where everything should be, even in the sleeve that I added to my hand. I have to make sure to get all the smaller details like this thread over here, stitching of where it folds along. This is all I will do for now, and then I will start to erase it so that it looks right now. I have this, and it's not looking very clean. I will be sure to erase the sketch, then make sure to finalize what I want to do, decide how I will color things, fade and highlight the hand and the sleeve. This is where I start to erase, clean everything up. I might not get everything, but even if there are some pencil marks, we'll still make the whole drawing look nice in a way. Now I've picked out my colors for both my hand and my sleeve, so I will start to color everything in and add the necessary shading, highlight all the little details that I missed before. I have to go really lightly with the colors because if I'm not careful and I press down too hard, it will be hard. It will be difficult to undo the mistake. Right now, I'm coloring the skin tone of my hand before I get into the palm area because it's very light and this is a dark brown color. I will use this again when it comes to shading so that I can properly show the values of each area, all the shadows that it's casting. So for now, this is just a base color. Now I'm going to do the sleeve. This pink or magenta looks off, but I have to use it lightly because I want to mix some colors to get close to the tint that the sleeve is. So this is making the sleeve look purple, meanwhile the sleeve in real life is pink. Very light tint. Doing the palm. Everywhere that's pretty much light. Like I said, there are still a few pencil marks around, but I can use them to my advantage, especially when it comes to shading, because my fingers are casting very dark shadow on the palm. This stage, I am trying to use the dark colored pencil to add some of the smaller details in my hand. See where some wrinkles are, because in my actual hand they are very dark and obvious to see. Right now I'm layering a little bit so that the dark skin tone will come together more properly, because right now it is very light, so I'm trying to darken everything up. shadows that my fingers are casting onto my, and they would be a little blurred by now, but they're they're creating a really subtle shape that I can clearly see as if it were drawn onto my hand. That's what I'm trying to do. Also trying not to make this line here too obvious. At this point, I'm now getting onto this using the pink color that I have because it's much closer to the color of the sleeve than the magenta that I had earlier. At this point, I'm going to start creating the overall cast shadow that my hand and the sleeve are creating. On the table, it looks light, but I'll probably use this to show it, and then I'll mix it with a little black as well. The surface of where my hand is sitting is brown table. Shadow appears to also be brown and not so dark where it's a solid black or anything. It's not directly touching the table, so my shadow doesn't look dark, but instead it's light. This gradually getting lighter and lighter with the pencil to show how it's fading out onto the table immediately, but getting there. This is the finished result of the hand project for the VPA. It doesn't look too accurate, but it's close enough. I think I'm proud of what I did.